We're good to go. So now that we have that mask, we have that selection, we can create a mask with that selection as well. And you can see that, so I have this selection. I'm gonna like a layer via copy, and that's gonna make a copy of the C, and for that I'm gonna make a mask on top of that with that selection. So I'm gonna get the selection again by selecting the reverse of that layer, inverse selection. Just a quick way to do it. And basically create a mask for that looks the same. Now I'm going to disable that duplicate layer. The whole purpose of that duplicate layer was to make that duplicate mask. I know it's very dumb, but that's just one way of doing it. And for the sky, I have that mask already for the sky. So now I have a mask for the sea, and I have a mask for the sky. Now I'm going to go into my library here of photos. I'm going to replace the sky. So one way to do this is, you can select your own sky image. I just, for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm using this image here. It's a high resolution sky of sunset, very colorful and gorgeous. It's actually been photoshopped as well. Not photoshopped, but lightroomed in a different, but that's a whole different tutorial, how I did this. And basically I'm just going to sort of resize that image. I'm going to constrain its proportions so that it looks the same. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this layer on top and take that sky mask that I created before, alt drag it, and now it's masked. So now you have sort of the sky replaced. Now if I unlink the mask from the image of the sky right here in my layer, now I can sort of drag, the mask can remain in its place, and now I can sort of drag the image in the background, the sky, until I like where it's positioned, right here. So I like, for instance, the horizons to match like this. But now the image is too small, so what I'm going to do again is I'm going to free transform it, lock the height and width, just make sure that it sort of fills in. There we go. So now I like the sun behind their kiss in a way. Let me move it a bit behind her. So now sort of the image is right behind them. And then obviously what I want to do is I want to overlay it. So there's different ways to blend skies. I like the overlay for this image. So the overlay basically, as you can see, takes the old sky and blends it with the new sky, and then you have this effect. Now it's not a very strong blend, which is fine. So what I want to do is maybe enable that mask right here and maybe reduce its density. Okay, so what I want to do is actually the reverse of that. So I want to do invert the mask on the sky on the original image. I want to basically play with the density of that. So what I just did is I did an invert of the mask. So it inverted the mask of the sky on the original image. And now when I play with the density of the original, so when I, for example, increase the density 1000%, of the mask, it's completely black. Completely black means that it completely blackened out the old sky in favor of the new sky, which is completely white. But I don't want to do that. I want to make it maybe 50%, sort of another overlay sort of feature. So now it's like the overlay of the new sky is almost 50-50 with the old sky. And you can play with that. You can say, it's too intense. It takes away from the attention of the on the couple. That's down to your style level, and you can do that, in whatever way you want. But the purpose of this tutorial is to show you the capability of sort of the masking features. And then after that, I want to show you how to do the same adjustment layer. Now, this is a tricky. Now, there's a bit of a disconnect between the sky and the water. The water is supposed to always reflect the sky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that sky and I'm going to make a duplicate of it. I'm gonna duplicate that sky layer. So now I have two layers of the same sky. And what I'm going to do is, first of all, disable the old, or actually delete that sky layer mask. I don't want that. And instead apply the layer mask of the water. So now I'm going to mask out only the water. So now you can see, if I move around the duplicate sky layer that I just made, you can see it only applies to the water section. See that? And the reason why I want to do that is I'm going to take that image, I'm going to do an edit, free transform, I'm going to flip it vertically. So now it's going to be sort of a mirror image of the sky above. So now it's like as if it's a perfect reflection on the water. But then it's very, very spotty, right? That doesn't look like a natural water. I mean, it's an overlay. I mean, if it's not an overlay, it's normal, then it just completely replaces the water. It looks like a perfect mirror. But you don't want to do that. You want to do an overlay. Again, where's my overlay? And then, but then if you don't want that spotty effect, so what do you do? Well, basically what I do is I go into blur it, and you can do it in many different ways, but you can do smudging, you can do whatever, but I like to do sort of a blur. And the blur, basically what it does is that, you see, this is the original image, and if I blur it out completely, I get to keep the colors of the water without keeping the detail. So now so what I did is I flipped the sky, I blurred it out, and I did it as in the form of an overlay. And now maybe it's too strong of an effect on the water, so I'm going to basically reduce its opacity to just a bit. So now it affects the toning of the water, but it doesn't really change it much. It doesn't spotify, it doesn't make spotting effect on it. And now I'm going to save that image. But basically what I'm doing right now is I'm saving the Photoshop image, or basically the TIFF file that I just created that I came over from Lightroom. And then when it finishes saving, it's right now doing all kinds of saving routine here, 96%. While it does that, let me speak a bit about masking. So masking is basically the whole essence of Photoshop is masking. You split your image into sections by selecting and then creating a mask for that selection. And again, a mask is basically that thing that you add. You can say add a layer mask. And a layer mask, the idea is very simple. Black means hide, meaning do not affect the black area, and white means affected. Affected by 100%. And then any shades of gray is basically percentage of that. So for example, in layer 0, I'm saying that the white here is the black here is basically 50% masking on the black area and 100% masking on the white area, while the other ones here, it's 0% masking on the black area and 100% masking on the white area. So black means completely blacked out, and white means completely in. and grays are just shades in between. And this is how you basically do everything. Same thing with adjustment layers. Adjustment layers, for instance, let's say we want to brighten. So we want to brighten the image. The brightness layer, the brightness adjustment layer, has a masking layer to it. It's completely white. Completely white over the entire image means that the entire image is going to get affected with that adjustment. So if I want to brighten the whole thing, I can do that. If I want to darken the whole thing, I can do that. But let's say I only want to do the water. So I'm going to take the masking layer of dot water from my previous mask image down here. I'm going to sort of do a copy of the mask. I'm going to do an alt and then drag that here. I'm going to do a replace. And then now my brightness adjustment layer will only apply to the water. So if I go to my brightness here and I play with it, you can see only the water is getting that effect. So I'm going to actually brighten it a bit so it's the water is a little lighter. And you can do same thing with vibrance, with whatever the tool is, whatever the adjustment layer that you want to add. But so far, this is what we have. I'm going to save it again. I'm going to open it up in Lightroom now. And in Lightroom, where we originally came from, where that TIFF file is basically added to the library, will pick up the Photoshop image that I just adjusted. So this is the original one. You see with all the dirty stuff in the sand and in the sky, and then this is the new one. And then now I'm going to sort of, you can see I have my presets here. For example, the dream effect, or my own sort of cartoonish look preset, and you basically get that image. Voila. Now you can go in and you can play with the adjustment layers. You can lighten the sky. You can remove more spots. You can show a bit of more of the highlights. So for example, his face here is a bit too orangey. You can come in Lightroom here and do some lightening and dodging of his face, like that. You know, if you click on O, it would show what it affects. And you know, you can also have those adjustment layers in Photoshop, and where you can sort of adjust the tone of the skin. And again, this is the old image, and this is the new one. Well, the new one now is not found. Oh, just found it. Okay, so this is it. If you guys like what I do, please like our page on Facebook. Our Facebook page is www.facebook.com/TK And yeah, I'm going to upload that image soon, and upload as well the video tutorial of how I arrived at this, which I just shared with you right now. And remember, guys, I'm doing this in kind. If you like what we do, and you'd like to cover all our expenses for the recording and basically the video casting, you can donate to us on PayPal. Our PayPal email is contact@tkphotographers.com. If you think my time was worth a cup of coffee from Starbucks, then that would be great. If you can invite me to one. Thank you so much, guys. And if you have any questions, let me know on the event page, on the fan page. And let's see your work. Please do follow the steps that I've done. All the images are up on the cloud, and basically I've added the CR2 image, the TIFF image, which you can open up in Photoshop and you can explore, and even the background image and even the Lightroom presets that I had. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and we will hopefully do this again. Take it easy.